back to Atypical Talk. This is a podcast where we have conversations that illuminate the intersection of faith, culture, and the common spaces of our humanity. I'm Abby.
I'm Joel.
I'm Kenton.
And our first question today is, if you could only watch one TV show for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? Kenton, you want to start us off?
Oh, sure. There's a lot of really good ones.
Rewatchables.
Think of, yeah. My mind instantly goes to House with Hugh Laurie or 24.
Okay.
Oh,
with
wow.
Kiefer
That's so
Sutherland.
intense every day.
But then I'm like, those feel old now, even though they're not. I mean, 24 is probably early 2000s, so it's over 20 years old probably at this point. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I mean, Suits is a good one. I could probably watch that every day, too. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Okay, Joel.
I know what Joel's answer is.
See,
He does it already.
I'm so weird. Abby set this question up, so one of my weirdest things and my weirdest traits
Everyone needs to
becomes
know
very
you're
public.
weird.
Yeah.
Because I do watch the same TV show every day.
Yeah.
Back when Megan and I first got married, I started with the DVDs of The West Wing, Martin Sheen, Bradley Whitford, great show from the late 90s through 2006. And I loved it so much that it just has become my comfort show. So I'm always watching The West Wing, and I'm always sort of moving through the 7 seasons. And I go to sleep, and I close my eyes, take my glasses off, close my eyes. I have the sleep timer on for 30 minutes. And that's my comfort sound. And then it turns off 30 minutes later. And so I'm currently back in season 1, guys.
Wow.
I just 5 episodes in. Mr. Willis from Ohio is the episode name.
Wow.
And it's just a part of who I am now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's weird. I know.
I'm sure your wife
I
just
can't
loves
imagine doing that just because if the TV's on, I can't fall asleep.
Yeah,
See,
me
it's
too.
interesting because to me, it helps me. And I've heard of this in other ways too. Like, it helps your mind go to something outside of like the next day, but it's something you don't need to pay attention to because you know what's going to happen. I've heard of people doing this with The Office and things like that too.
Yeah.
I tried it with The Office, but I just start laughing.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking about
It's
different
too
jokes.
entertaining.
Yeah. So it's, but that's one of my
Yeah.
weird things. When I travel and we don't have like a TV that has Netflix or anything like that, I literally, I don't know why I'm just divulging this information. I literally sleep on one side where I have an earbud in my ear and I'm playing it on Netflix with a 30-minute timer so I can just have it in my ear like a podcast. That's what I do, I guess. It's weird, I know, but it's a great show. It's so full of heart. It's really smart, and it's also really funny in certain moments. Like, great. There's episodes I can't sleep to because I will start laughing thinking about them as well. So there's that going on too.
That's funny.
Okay, Abby, tell us your embarrassing TV thing.
I don't know. I feel like it kind of is embarrassing.
Oh, I like it.
I grew up, I loved the TV show Monk.
Okay,
Like that is so
USA.
nostalgic for me.
Tony Shalhoub.
And like rewatching it, it's so cringy at parts. Like, it's such a goofy show, but it's so nostalgic for me. And I started rewatching it the other day, and I'm like, oh, this was my show.
This
Like,
takes you
I
back.
could watch this over and over
Psych?
again.
Was it called Psych?
Yeah,
That was
Psych
also on
was
Netflix.
also,
Really good one,
yep. But yeah, I love that. It's about an OCD detective that because of his OCD, he got kicked off the police force, and
It's a good show.
no, it's a very good show.
Honestly, those USA shows were like underrated. I feel like they had a lot.
There was a run where there was a run
Yeah,
where there
yeah.
were a lot of them that everybody was watching for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Such a good show. Okay. This first topic, I actually chose it because I was looking around for topics and reading all the different headlines and news stories and stuff. I was like, wow, the world kind of sucks right now.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah, so
out there.
I chose out this article. I kind of want to talk about this. It's a Forbes article titled "The Key to Staying Positive in a Negative World." In a world dominated by troubling headlines, former Baxter International CEO Harry Kramer argues that realistic optimism is a leader's most powerful tool. He emphasizes that optimism grounded in reality rather than denial not only supports resilience and encourages problem solving, but also reduces stress, fear, and anxiety. Studies even back this up, showing measurable health benefits for those who maintain a positive outlook. Kramer outlined several practical strategies for staying positive amid negativity. Leaders should remember that economic cycles are temporary, plan ahead for downturns even during good times, and communicate early and often to prevent uncertainty from spiraling into chaos. He stresses the importance of responding thoughtfully rather than overreacting by keeping a long-term perspective in mind. Perhaps most importantly, Kramer reminds leaders that their teams are always watching them for cues. A leader's attitude is contagious. Confidence and realistic optimism inspire the same in others, while panic can unsettle an entire organization. Ultimately, staying grounded, nimble, and genuinely optimistic is one of the greatest gifts a leader can offer their team during uncertain times. So how do you guys stay positive with the world the way it is right now?
I just watched The West Wing before I go to bed, and I'm reminded that there's another way. I think this is such a good topic, and it's so complicated in so many ways as well, because I think optimism, when I hear the word optimism, it can come off as kind of a cheap word. It can come off as like, just see everything, or, you know, face everything with a smile, or it's like everything's going to be okay-ism kind of thing. And I kind of like, you know, hit that, and I think like that's not exactly how I want to think about things, but I do want to have, and I feel like personally, because of faith and because of what has happened with Jesus, I can see the world for more than what I see right now. Mm-hmm. So a part of it, my really trite pastor answer is like, I can stay positive when the world's going crazy because Jesus rose from the dead. And like, ultimately, like the worst things are not going to be the last things, and that God is in the process of remaking the world and making the wrongs right, and this is ultimately not how the story is going to end. And I look for signposts of that, and I get to be a signpost of the way that things really are and will be in life. So I really come back to Jesus rose from the dead spiritually. A couple other things that I think as I get older and as the world gets more chaotic, I've started to see, it sounds like maybe pessimistic, but I've started to see patterns of like, you know, in the article it talks about economic downturns. It's just sort of the cycle of our economy. And to me, as I get older and I start to see even what I call recycled wars and conflicts, where I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. I have seen us as a country or as a society move in this direction before. I start to realize like, okay, yeah, this is freaking crazy right now. And oh, this is so disappointing. But you know what? Like, this has happened before and we're still here. I mean, I talk often about how I wish I was like a teenager in the late 1960s because of the explosion of rock and roll and just the really cool cultural things that were happening. And then we often forget that I romanticize that time to where the late 60s were, I mean, so chaotic. I mean, there was a president assassinated in JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and then his brother, who was running for president the next cycle, Bobby Kennedy, was assassinated while he was running for president. Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for civil rights and was assassinated. There was the Vietnam War going on that was a wildly unpopular war, and a draft. All these things were happening in what I thought was the coolest period of time, right?
Yeah.
And I just think like, okay, we have seen this before, and, you know, we can make it through, and this is not going to be the end of the story. I mean, even thinking back to what the early followers of Jesus had to go through and the chaos and how they were underground and how they were persecuted, it gives me perspective because, yes, I'm not minimizing the craziness that's going on right now, but we have been here before in a lot of ways, and it's not the end of the story. It wasn't for our grandparents. It wasn't for the early Christians. I don't think it is for us either. And then the third thought that I have is just, I have to be mindful of the inputs that I'm taking in, and what are the first things that I read in the morning and see in the morning? Like, what are the last things that I read and see at night? What are the things that I'm focusing on in my conversations? Like, is it just the stuff that's out of control that I can't do anything about, to where you're just shaking your head? Or are there things that are more eternal? Are they things that are like lifting my eyes to what matters to me that I can actually do something with, like raising my kids and loving my family? And so I think it is so easy when we have these supercomputers in our pockets and these screens that are notifying us of all the craziness all the time, to focus on that and dwell in that so much when we can't really do very much about that in the moment. And so it's reminding myself of like, okay, am I seeing God's word before I'm getting messed up in the world and all the craziness of the world? Am I putting my relationships before the headlines? And am I spending hours and hours on end doom scrolling about the latest, craziest thing that's happened out of Washington, D.C.? Or am I actually just loving and serving the people that are right in front of me? So it just has inputs and outputs for me as well.
Yeah. What about you, Kenton?
Yeah, I think I just try and focus on the things that I have some immediate control over, and just focus on my family and just the things that are the most important to me, that I have, like Joel just said, like direct output with, basically. And, even in times where you do doom scroll away and find out all the nasty things that are happening, just focusing on those people and just forgetting about all of that stuff the best you can by just being in the moment really helps me anyway. And then also just remembering that like those same people that you're in the moment with, like those are the people that are going to matter in 20 years time, because a million things in the world are going to happen between now and then. Your cycle of politics is going to happen every 4, 8, 12, 16. I mean, you're going to potentially go through how many leaders or different world struggles in that amount of time, but you're only going to watch your kids grow up one time. You're only going to get to go on vacation with your spouse or, go on a date with your spouse every, so often. So like those things are just so much more valuable than worrying about the things of the future. And I'm a history buff too. I've talked about it many times, probably every time I'm on the podcast, actually. So like Joel said, everything is cyclical. Like every war happens again. All the battles we fought from, ancient times to now are all over the same things, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to keep happening in some way or another. And, at the end of the day, the people that matter are the people that you sit around a table with and break bread with. So.
Yep.
I love that perspective of, every 4 years there's a new reality or there's a possibility for a new reality. And I think it's so often we get so zeroed in on who's sitting on the throne in Washington that we obsess about it. And I mean, it really does affect real people, and it's a real thing with real consequences. But to think about like, man, all throughout history, earthly kings, they go in cycles and then they go away and they die. There's an end to all of this. And it's just, for me, it's another great reminder of like, okay, who's really on the throne and who's eternal through all of this, and keep my eyes on Jesus and not be so obsessed about who's going to have one little roll of power for 4 years. And when we can do that, we don't just obsess over every little thing and let a leader just live in our heads rent free to where we obsess over every little thing that comes across our Twitter feeds or every news thing a day. Because you know what? Like, that is just too exhausting, and it's going to take energy away from my family and from my church family and what God's called me to do. And I think it's also going to send me in the downward spiral of negativity that nobody really wants.
Every empire in the world has fallen.
Yeah, risen and fallen.
But those relationships that you make along the way don't break for those everyday people. The leadership broke of everything, Rome and Egypt and all of that. But, those people who lived in that made friends, had families, grew up. We are where we are today because of people that have been in community and relationships. So I think that, you just focus more on the small things and less on these grand things that we have no control over. I'm a pessimist, so it's hard to stay positive for me. But that's why I try and focus so much on those little things.
Yep. Well, this next topic, I was wanting something ridiculous to talk about on the podcast.
Well, you did it. You found it.
This came across my news feed, and it felt like it fit. This is an independent article titled "Camel Pageant Thrown into Chaos After 20 Competitors Disqualified for Using Hump-Plumping Injectables."
Come on now.
The 2026 Camel Beauty Show Festival in Oman was thrown into chaos when 20 camels were disqualified after veterinary inspectors discovered their owners had used cosmetic procedures to enhance their appearance. The enhancements included hyaluronic acid injections for plumper lips, dermal fillers around the nose, Botox to soften facial features, and silicone wax to inflate their humps.
Yeah.
Treatments very similar to cosmetic procedures used on humans. Camel pageants are a serious and high-stakes industry, with the Camel Festival in Saudi Arabia offering more than $60 million in prize money.
$4 for them.
Winning camels are judged on their coat, neck, head, and humps, and a victory can significantly increase a camel's sale value. This isn't the first time cheating has been uncovered. In 2018, 12 camels were disqualified for Botox use, and in 2021, 40 were barred after allegedly having stretched noses. Festival organizers have vowed to crack down on tampering by imposing strict penalties on offenders. Judges now use advanced technology, including x-rays, to detect cosmetic alterations. Beyond the competition scandal, animal rights activists and veterinary professionals have condemned these procedures as cruel, citing painful side effects such as infections, bruising, and the risk of silicone migrating to other parts of the body.
Big problems.
Yeah, I didn't even know that camel pageants were a thing.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Camel beauty show. The
camel
beauty show. When you think about all of God's incredible creation and the beauty in the animal kingdom, who amongst us doesn't have their mind drift to camels as like this is the apex of beauty in the animal kingdom?
They shoot out that like sack tongue thing in their mouth or whatever to like
the spit.
Yeah.
No,
But
this was the Black Eyed Peas song "My Humps." This is what that was about. This camel
pageants,
yeah.
Botoxed camels, silicone camels.
Yes,
I know.
This is what it's all about.
This feels absolutely ridiculous. But do you think
It doesn't when you think of $60 million.
Yeah, that's true.
I do a lot of things for $60 million.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Would you attend an animal pageant show? Do you feel like this is basically what like 4-H is? Like,
yeah, 100%.
This is what, but I like to judge my animals on their personality, not their looks. And,
I like to judge them on how
good
they would taste.
I can't imagine unless there was like a family member who was showing a camel or I was there to support that I'd be like, hey babe, it's Friday night, let's go hit up the camel beauty pageant.
But like I love the dog show.
Yeah,
on
I love dog shows.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I've never gotten in the Westminster dog show.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
It is lots of fun to like
Purina.
Yeah.
Who sponsors it?
To try to figure out who you think is going to win and all
I don't know
that.
anything about dogs, but watching those...
But they're so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But that's as far as it would go.
Yeah.
I do enjoy going to 4-H shows, though, too. I think it's fun seeing the animals and stuff.
Yeah. I was around it a lot.
I was going to say, I wasn't a farm kid growing up, so I didn't...
It's just all the smells,
I wasn't
man.
in that.
I'm a city boy, I guess. But yeah, it's all the smells in that tent.
Felt like they're just abusing... I mean, I'm sorry if you did a lot of 4-H. I didn't do it, but I was around it a lot. And I just... remember people just beating those pigs, with the sticks, like, get in there, do what I want you to do. And I'm like, that's so sad. That bacon's going to be bruised when I eat it.
Yeah, that's what what was funny to me was how, like, there's just, and again, someone who does 4-H and grew up with this is going to be like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. I don't. But it was just the funniest thing when I realized, like, oh, they're, like, caring so much for these animals, and then they're just going to sell them, and we're going to eat them. We don't eat them. But
yeah,
they literally leave the pageant or leave the show to, like, get on a thing and go get butchered. Like it's that quick.
It wasn't until about 2 years ago that I realized that.
You realize what a sad realization in the moment.
Oh, this is terrible. Like I can't watch this anymore.
Probably not the bunnies. Yeah. But the bunnies, like the smaller animals at the pageants, at the 4-H, that literally is just a pageant.
Yeah.
Because like you're not scooting them around the...
You haven't eaten bunny?
Well, I mean, I've had rabbit before, but not those bunnies.
Yeah.
But anyway, I am not a PETA board member. I love meat. The whole situation is strange to me. But you know what? I'd try about anything once.
Yeah.
Camels.
A camel.
I would eat camel. I would try it.
Yeah, but I hear it's just hump.
Cartilage and muscle.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what.
Honey, you barely touched your camel.
I don't think they
hump.
talked about eating. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
is that like in? I always think of a camel like, and of course I can't think of the name of it, but in Star Wars when he's like cold and he has to climb inside the
tauntaun.
Yeah.
I thought they smelled bad.
Yeah,
on the outside.
Yeah. That's what I think of with a camel for some reason.
Yep.
I'm like, just got to climb inside that hump.
Gross. So what animal would you like to see up close and in person, assuming that animal is not going to try to kill you?
That's a big assumption.
Tiger King told me
you
a
really?
lot.
Oh, so you want to be around the big cats?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else.
Carol Baskins.
Yeah. Whacked him. I don't know what else there is. I mean, elephants, but like some kind of safarian animal.
Yeah. I've got a hot take on this. I would like to spend some time with a moose.
A moose.
I think mooses are ridiculous animals.
I just want to see how big they are.
That's what I'm
person.
saying.
Yeah.
It's like a deer, but then it goes like it's like a deer that got promoted too far at work, and now it's this massive thing. I mean, think about it. Like their legs are super. They're like so tall. Their legs are way too long for as bulky as they are.
Yeah.
Their face. I heard somebody say once their face looks unfinished in a way because it's all nose and all things going. Their antlers are massive. Like it's like a deer that just like went way too far. Like it's just a crazy thing. And somehow they look like, I mean, they're so big and they're majestic, but they have this confused look about them. I'm in.
Roid deer.
Yeah. Yes, I just need to hang out with the moose because I think they're so much bigger than I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh,
they are, and dangerous looking, but I'm like, I don't hear about people getting like killed.
We
by
don't live
moose.
in Canada.
I've seen people get charged by a moose before. But
if I could be safe around a moose, I would love to just be like,
I don't.
It's wild.
Yeah,
Bullwinkle.
There's so many animals. I don't. That would be interesting. But
I think a grizzly bear. I just want to pet it to see how soft it is.
I don't know.
Because grizzly bears
Leo
look
and the
so
Revenant.
soft.
I think about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Did not have a good time.
That gave me a new nightmare unlocked. Leo DiCaprio in the Revenant.
But they look so soft.
They do look soft.
They look so soft and
then their
fluffy.
teeth look not soft.
Yeah, no.
It's like those tiny little monkeys. Speaking of the fair, the guy that always goes around and he has like a tiny little monkey that like, does tricks for him. I always feel bad for that guy.
Have you guys seen Punch the Monkey?
I have
Do you guys
no
know
idea
anything about this monkey?
No idea what that is.
I feel like you're going to give me a new nightmare. Go ahead.
So there's this monkey at a zoo in Japan. His name is Punch. He's a little baby monkey. His mom either died when he was young or she abandoned him, something like that. But all the monkeys in the enclosure hate him. And so they've given him this stuffed monkey that he carries around. And it's his friend. And none of the other monkeys want to be friends with him. It's really sad.
That is way sadder than even the fair monkey man.
Yep. Yeah.
Monkey man.
It is very sad. But I've heard that he has a friend now.
Oh,
so
that's good.
That's good.
At least
I'm worried
one of
about
the
his
monkeys.
social life deeply right now.
Is his friend named Kick?
Kick Punch. Oh, man. Boo.
Yeah. But it was the stuffed animal monkey he carries around is like something that like you can buy at Costco, and so like sales for that plush went way up.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
so sad.
It is the cutest little monkey and makes me so sad.
You got a link to Punch the Monkey.
Yes, I will. I'll link that.
Let's make sure he's not dead first.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you never know. I feel like we mentioned things like that, and it's like womp womp.
Yeah.
By the time you listen to this in the year 2028, I don't know.
Probably gone.
Our final topic today, it's a Relevant magazine article titled "The Dangerous Rise of Me-Centered Worship." Modern worship has undergone a quiet but significant shift over the past few decades. What began in the 1990s as an intentional move towards personal, intimate worship has gradually evolved into something more self-centered. Today, many popular worship songs orbit around the feelings and experiences of the worshiper rather than the character of God, using therapeutic language with only a thin theological glaze. This drift mirrors the broader cultural obsession with self-curation. In an age where algorithms constantly mirror us back to ourselves, the church's corporate worship was designed to do the opposite, to decenter the individual and redirect focus toward God. But when worship becomes mood-dependent and emotionally driven, as Pastor Henry Seeley and artist Natalie Grant both caution against, it loses its power to truly transform. Like the Psalms, honest emotion in worship is healthy, but it should serve as a launch pad toward God, not the destination itself. The stakes are high, but so is the opportunity. The church cannot and should not compete with pop music's motivational anthems about self-actualization. Instead, its unique offering is genuine transcendence, a God who is holy, sovereign, and worthy of worship regardless of how we feel. In a culture that has optimized nearly everything and still found it wanting, truth-driven worship that names who God actually is may be the most compelling and countercultural thing the church can offer. So do you guys agree with this article? Do you think worship has become more self-centered?
I don't know. No. I don't think it's become more self-centered, honestly,
no.
On the whole. But I'd love to get Kenton's take on this.
Oh, how long do we have?
Yeah.
I mean, there are great things in this article and everything that Abby just read. But based on her question, I would say no. It's not more self-centered. And I think it's ironic that they mentioned the Psalms as an example in this article, because the Psalms are like, I don't know, Joel probably has a better idea, but I would say close to 50% are probably like I-centered, like, or my feelings.
Very personal.
I trust.
Yeah.
I do this.
Where are you for me?
Yeah.
Like, God, I need you to show up. Like the quick search I did said it's like almost 40%, like conservatively.
And then I think if you add in like the we focused, like communal, it's even more. So I wouldn't say it's more self-centered. I would say the shift that I have seen in maybe not the corporate worship songs, but maybe like the hits you hear on K-Love, or I don't want to call them out, but are there any other Christian stations at this point that you hear on whatever station you may listen to? I think it's more about this like love language that's maybe vague.
Like boyfriend Jesus songs?
Yeah, I think that's still...
Where you could literally change Jesus out for babe.
Yeah.
And you're like, the song still works? That's weird.
I think that was a shift maybe 10-ish years ago that I saw, and that's still around. I don't think that's new, though. I just think that that's something that's maybe still in the air of a lot of, like, I call them radio Christian songs as opposed to, like, communal worship.
Yeah, they're not
songs.
Ones that you would sing in church.
Yeah, no. And so I would say that, I think that there are things about the heart of what they're trying to say in this article that are very true. That if you don't focus on, the God side of things, and you do truly just focus on, like, if you're in the moment worshiping and you're just focused on you, that's a heart thing that we should all work through. And we all have that moment. But I don't think that music itself I don't think just because it says, I trust in God, that is by, I don't think if I change the lyrics to like God is trustworthy versus I trust in God, I think those say the same thing, because God is trustworthy and I also trust in him. I don't think just because I say I trust in God that is a self-centered focus. And I think there has been a bad rap the last 10, 15 years that basically some people poo-poo any song that says I or we or me or
I had a professor in my undergrad schooling who was a worship professor, and she wrote an entire book about how like corporate worship songs shouldn't say I or me. It should only be corporate, we, us, communal, like not like I believe, but we believe. And I remember like at the time I was like really captivated by that. And I was just like, yeah, because it's corporate and we need to remind each other, and we sing this together and we sing for each other so that we help each other believe and stuff like that. But then you look at the Psalms and you're like, well, like, but the book that Jesus had, like, him praying and singing the Psalms was not like that at all. So there's value to that. There's value to the personal and the corporate. I think it's a lot about balance in my mind of like, there's a huge need for songs that like give us language for where we are at. And I think that's some of the beauty of the more devotional, personal me language is like, God, I need you. And then we can think about where we are in our lives so it can become a prayer that we're able to sing. So I think there's so much value in that. And I think there's also value in like standing with a group of people and being like, we believe that Jesus is the Son of God. We believe, there's something about that corporate thing that's powerful too. One of the shifts that I feel like I've noticed, and this is a little off the article in their angle, but like I've noticed a shift of language that in the last couple of years, it feels like there's a lot of language about victory and like everything's awesome now and a miracle for me kind of thing that for me personally, sometimes I'm like, that can be tough because I feel like oftentimes those things don't happen or we don't realize them. And it feels almost like coming from we've conquered, not that Jesus ultimately is going to win, but we have arrived in this way where it feels very like, I'm on top now because I have Jesus and I've had this breakthrough and I have my miracle kind of thing. And I feel like I have a little bit almost more pushback against some of that language than I do the me and I kind of devotional kind of stuff, because I think about, people that are in our church who are diagnosed with cancer and they're going through cancer treatments and they're struggling, or people that are sitting there and they're at church with their spouse, but things are not good at home and things are on the rocks. And I think one thing that is part of the Psalms, which was Jesus' songbook, that's not as much a part of our modern worship is just being able to speak to sadness and brokenness and valley moments, not mountaintop victory moments. What do you think about that? Yeah, it's a huge part. Yeah. But I think about lament and singing church. That's weird to sing. That's weird to do, right? It's just not the vibe we have. But like, what do you think about that whole like victory, breakthrough, I have my miracle?
I mean, I think it's reactionary to the like 5-10 years prior. I think
pendulum swing.
I think everything is kind of like what we had already talked about. Like it's cyclical. Like 5-10 years ago, every song was about battle and this war that I'm waging, me, or this war that collectively the world is waging, to see, God come back and all of these kinds of things. It was way more, there was a stretch where it was a bit militant, there was just, everything was like battle, this fight, you're the answer. But I do feel like there's like this swing of songs that landed more where we're at right now, which is like we've got the victory now. And I think that there's a lot of good intentional, writing behind a lot of these like really big groups that push the trend one way or the other. But I think we see a lot of that. Like it becomes this big swing of topics. Like once one major group, then even if you don't say you're influenced by that, you might write a song and it feels like it's influenced a little bit about that kind of same thing. So it's kind of like the swirling of like same feelings. And so, but I agree. I think that we're in a lot of this like not the battle anymore, but like somehow we've overcome this battle and it's a great place to be. And it's like, yay, everything's
yay God.
Yay God. We've done it. And I think that alienates a lot. And I think the Psalms spend a lot more time in lament and a lot more time in like
question marks,
questioning God, questioning what do I do now, and I think there's a difference between yay, we've seen a victory, and yay God. Songs that are like,
even though
how great our God is, even though we do these things, versus how great our God is because we
won.
Overcame and even we won.
I think that's true. So it is interesting. That's just interesting to see, like, think about the pendulum swing on themes and things like that. And just to be reminded that it should all be a part of the whole human experience of, victory and sadness and doubts and faith and trust, all, colliding with who God is and always has been. And I think in a bit practical sense, like if you're listening to worship music, like on your own, or you're listening to whatever, and you feel like there's a lot of songs about that, just dig a little deeper in terms of finding artists. Because I truly think that some of the big names, Hillsong, Elevation, Bethel, they all kind of, in some way or another, trend to follow each other just in the topics. Because it does get radio hits. So I think that if you want something else, if you feel like you're in a time of lament, like you're in a time of sorrow, you're in a time of just needing God, look for that. ChatGPT, AI might be a lot of things, but it can really point you to some artists you don't otherwise know. Who are a few of those artists that people might not hear on Christian radio that you feel like you should check these people out? Man. Should we add them in the show notes for people?
Yeah, let's just add them in the show notes. Yeah. There are just so many. So I'm a Spotify gal myself, and so even if you just listen to like the top live worship of 2026, or find the iTunes equivalent, or there's stuff on YouTube that are the same thing. There are so many artists in there, Thrive Worship and like Mosaic and all these ones that, like, around Bridgeway we've probably done their songs, some of them, but they might be in a different season. Red Rocks, we've done a lot of their music in the past. They specifically write music for where they feel like
their church
is right now, which is also, I mean, I don't know when you may listen to this podcast, but I mean, Bridgeway Worship has now done a couple songs on Sunday mornings, and those songs have been themed around where we're at, what we're going through, what's happening through Bridgeway, what God is doing through Bridgeway. And so, just look for that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll link some connections in the notes, or I'll put a list of bands together that kind of branch further down the track than just kind of your
K-Love hits.
Big names. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's it for this episode of Atypical Talk. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to talk about, you can email those to atypicaltalkpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at atypicaltalkpod. And make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to get updates when new episodes go live. We hope that these conversations today have helped you think wider, love deeper, and partner with God to bring the up there down here in your everyday life. Thanks for listening.